Okay, so we're on section 2.3 homework. So let's see where we start here. Number 6. So it says use long division to divide. And hopefully you've seen this before. This is just a review. So what we're doing is we're dividing the polynomial 5x squared minus 17x minus 12 by x minus 4. So the thought process here is you say, what do I need to multiply x by to get 5x squared? So it's always this term times something equals that term. So to get 5x squared, you multiply by 5x and you put it over top of the x's. And then once you do that, you multiply out both terms. So 5x times x is 5x squared. And 5x times negative 4 is negative 20x. And what we do is we subtract. So what I do is I put what I just multiplied out in parentheses with a negative sign out in front to make sure that I remember to do this one. Usually this one you don't forget because you've chosen that specifically, so this goes to 0. So you get 0x squared there. And here we have negative 17x, and then we have negative times a negative. So we're really adding 20x. So 20x minus 17x is going to be positive 3x. Okay, so that's the first step. Now we ask the same question, but not what do we multiply x by to get 5x squared? What do we multiply x by to get 3x? So the answer is 3. Line that up here. 3 times x is 3x, and we need to bring down the next term that I haven't looked at yet. Okay, so 3 times x is 3x. 3 times negative 4 is negative 12. So again, we're subtracting this. Both terms we're subtracting. So 3x minus 3x is 0x, and negative 12 plus 12 is 0. So there isn't a remainder, and so the answer for this problem is 5x plus 3. And so we can also say that x minus 4 times 5x plus 3 is equal to 5x squared minus 17x minus 12. And you can see that if we multiply that, that's what we get. So, because a lot of times when we use a long division like this, is we're trying to get the factors of the original equation. So that's what we're trying to get these two factors. Okay, number 15. So we have x to the 4th plus 3x squared plus 1 divided by x squared minus 2x plus 3. So we always write it out in this form, like in the previous problem. So what we did, this is what we're dividing by. And then we put what we're dividing into in here. And when you have, say, fourth order expression, and you only have the fourth, the second, and constants, you leave spaces. So we'll put plus 0x cubed. You don't want to leave spaces here. So you're very explicit about what's going on here. Because ultimately you might have to line up things with x cubed, x squared. So it's good to have a nice spacing. Okay, what do I multiply x squared by to get x to the 4th? Well, the answer is x squared, so I put that in the x squared column. Then I multiply x squared times each term, so I'll get x to the 4th. This times that is negative 2x cubed, and 3 times x squared is 3x squared. Okay, so again, what we're doing is we're subtracting this. So that goes to 0. Here we have 0 plus 2, because we have a negative times a negative, so I get plus 2x cubed. And here we have 3x squared minus 3x squared, which is 0x squared. Okay, let's bring down the next term, which is 0x. So the next question is, what do we multiply x squared by to get x cubed? Well, the answer is 2x. 2x times x squared is 2x cubed. 2x times negative 2x is negative 4x squared. And 2x times 3 is plus 6x. Again, we're subtracting this, so that goes to 0. So you have 4 minus a minus, so that's positive, so that'll be plus 4x squared. Then we have 0 minus 6, so we get negative 6x. And we bring down the 1. So what do we multiply x squared by to get 4x squared? Well, the answer is 4. So 4 times x squared gives us 4x squared. 4 times negative 2x is negative 8x. And 4 times 3 is 12. Again, we're subtracting this. So this goes to 0. You got negative 6x plus 8x, so you get plus 2x. And you have 1 minus 12, which is negative 11. So what do we have? What does this all mean? What's the answer? The answer is this divided by that is x squared plus 2x plus 4 plus the remainder divided by the original denominator. So in this case, there was a remainder. And I'm just going to check this one because that didn't come out so nicely. So that's 15, page section 2-3. Okay, there's 2-1, 2-2, 2-3. Okay. So x squared plus 2x plus 4, 2x minus 11 over. Okay, got the right answer. Yoo-hoo! Okay, and I've got my place marked in the book. Next problem, 25. No, not 25, 20. So the next group of problems says just use synthetic division. So what we have is so the thing we're dividing by is x plus 3. The thing we're dividing is, and I need to make that a little longer. And actually we don't put the x plus 3 there. We put negative 3. And then we put the coefficients down for the different terms. So it's 5x cubed plus 18x plus 7, 18x squared plus 7x minus 6. So this number is always the 0. I'm pretty sure. I always forget that. So let me just look at to make sure I do it right here. Yes, it's so what you've got is x minus k. If you look at the appropriate page in section 3, and k is so in our case we're dividing by x plus 3, which is the same as x minus a minus 3, and it's x minus k, and this is k. So you can think of it as this number is the 0, or it's the negative of the term that's in the factor. Okay, so we bring the first number down. We multiply negative 3 times 15, 5, which is negative 15. Then we add these two together, which is positive 3. Then we take this times that. Negative 3 times 3 is negative 9. We add these two together, you get negative 2. Negative 3 times negative 2 is positive 6. Add those two together, they get 0. So the answer to the question, what is 5x cubed minus 18x squared plus 7x minus 6 divided by x plus 3? The answer is going to be there. And those coefficients represent the coefficients in front of the one less the power of the original one. And you just, so this is the x squared, this is the x, and this is the constant term. And because you have 0 remainder, there's 0 divided by x plus 3, which we usually don't show. But if you had something here that wasn't 0, then that would be the numerator. Now, the key thing about synthetic division is this has to be x plus or minus some number. You can't have 5x. Theoretically, I guess you could just factor out the whatever number associated with this, and you could do it. But it has to be just a constant one in front of that. So that's and you can only divide by a single term. You can't have squared terms or something like that. Okay, next 23. So we got another one of those. So we have, let me just write this one out, negative x cubed plus 75x minus 250 divided by x plus 10. So again, we write our little bracket thing. We're dividing by x plus 10, so we're going to use negative 10 here. We have a negative 1 for the x cubed. We have 0x squared. We have 75x's, and we have negative 250 for the constant. So we bring that down, negative 1. Negative 10 times negative 1 is positive 10. 0 plus 10 is 10. Negative 10 times negative 10 is, negative 10 times 10 is negative 100. 75 minus 100 is negative 25. Negative 10 times negative 225 is positive 250. So we get 0 there when we add that. So this comes out to be one without a remainder. So the answer to this division is going to be negative x squared plus 10x minus 25. Or you could say this times that equals that. So let me just double check here. Actually, it's even. Makes it. That means I gotta go to a different section. Okay. So which one was this? 20. 5x squared. Oh, that's the last one. What was this one? This was 20. 23. Oh, it is odd. Negative x squared plus 10x minus 25. Okay, so we've got shape. So this one was 23. Okay, on we go. 38. So 38 is in the next section. Express the function in the form of x minus k times qx plus r for the given value of k and demonstrate that f of k equals r. Okay, makes complete sense. Well, actually it does, but so we're doing 38, which is x cubed minus 5x squared minus 11x plus 8. So it's saying that k is equal to negative 2. So what does that mean? Well, what it means is, we're dividing by x plus 2. So k is the negative of this. So what we can do, because we can do long synthetic division, so here we just put negative 2. We put the coefficients from the top expression in, 1, negative 5, negative 11, 8. And then we do the operation. So bring this one down. Negative 2 times 1 is negative 2. Negative 5 plus negative 2 is negative 7. Negative 2 times negative 7 is positive 14. Negative 11 plus positive 14 is 3. Negative 2 times 3 is negative 6. 8 plus negative 6 is 2. So that's my remainder. So what they're saying is that f of negative 2 should equal 2. So we can check that out by just plugging into the original function. So you get negative 2 cubed minus 5 times negative 2 squared minus 11 times negative 2 plus 8. So that'll be negative 8. Negative 2 cubed is that. Negative 2 squared is 4. 4 times negative 5 is negative 20. Negative 11 times negative 2 is positive 22. And then we have plus 8. So this is negative 28. And if we add 22, we'll have negative 6. Negative 6 plus 8 is negative, wait a second, 28. That's negative 6 plus 8 is positive 2. Ta-da. So these two are the same thing. And the advantage of this thing, with this, if you ever take calculus, we'll use this fact when we're trying to find zeros. Because once you find out you don't have a zero, then you can use this to know where the function crosses the x-axis, and so you can kind of hone in on your answer. Okay, 38. So 38 says, oh, that's one I just did. What's the next one? 46. So that's in the next section. It says use synthetic division to find each function value. Verify your answer using another method. Okay, so it's basically what we just did here. So g of x equals x to the 6th minus 4x to the 4th plus 3x squared plus 2. And they want to evaluate g of 2. So what we do is we use synthetic division. And let's see, make sure 6th, 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, 1st, constant. Those are the different ones. So why would I do it this way instead of that way? So I'll let you think about that while we finish the problem. So this is going to be 2. So bring 1 down. 2 times 1 is 2. 0 plus 2 is 2. 2 times 2 is positive 4. Negative 4 plus positive 4 is 0. 2 times 0 is 0. 0 plus 0 is 0. 2 times 0 is 0. 3 plus 0 is 3. 2 times 3 is 6. 0 plus 6 is 6. 2 times 6 is 12. 12 plus 1 is 13. So what that's saying is g of 2 is 13. Make sure I did this right. Okay, so it looks right. Well, one thing is you don't have to take any powers. It's all just simple multiplication and subtraction, addition. Okay, so the other means would be to plug it in there. So you'd have 2 to the 6th minus 4 times 2 to the 4th plus 3 times 2 squared plus 2. So 2 to the 6th is 64 minus 4 times 2 to the 4th. So that's also 64 because 4 is 2 squared. 2 squared times 2 to the 4th is 2 to the 6th. So those cancel out. And then you have 4 times, what did I do here? Oh, I didn't write this down up here correctly. That should be 2. So you add those together, you get 14. So f of 2 is actually 14. And I was getting 14 here, so I knew that something was wrong. So 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 3 is 12. So this plus 12 plus 2, which equals 14, because those cancel out. Okay, next one. Negative 4. So what is g of negative 4? So we have 1, 0, negative 4, 0, 3, 0, 2, negative 4. Bring 1 down. Negative 4 times 1 is negative 4. Add these together, you get negative 4. Negative 4 times negative 4 is positive 16. 16 plus negative 4 is 12. 12 times negative 4 is negative 48. Add these together, you get negative 48. Negative 4 times 48. Negative 48 is 192. 192 times negative 4 is negative 768. Negative 768 times negative 4 is 3,000. Wait a second. I'm getting carried away here. Sorry. Okay. So that's right. This was 48 times 4 is 192. Okay, so this is 192. Add these two together, you get 195. 195 times negative 4 is negative 780. Add these together, you get negative 780. Negative 4 times negative 780 is 3,120 plus 2, 3,122. Hopefully you did that right, so let's just check it. So, negative 4 to the 6th power minus 4 times negative 4 to the 4th plus 3 times negative 4 squared plus 2. And so all these negatives, this is going to cancel, that's the same as 4 to the 6th power, which is 4,096. Here we got 4 to the 5th power basically, but it is negative because this will be positive, but then you have the negative from there, so that's minus 1024. Here we have basically 4 squared. 16 times 3 is 48. So it's going to be positive 48 plus 2. So 4,096 minus 1024 plus 48 plus 2 is 3,122. Okay. Next, g of 3. 1, 0, negative 4, 0, 3, 0, 2. Bring the 1 down. 3 times 1 is 3. 0 plus 3 is 3. 3 times 3 is 9. Add those together, you get 5. 3 times 5 is 15. Add those together, you get 15. 3 times 5 is 45, plus 3 is 48. 48 times 3 is 144. Add that to 0, you get 144. 144 times 3 is 432. Add this together, you get 434. Okay. Plug it in. 3 to the 6th minus 4 times 3 to the 4th plus 3 times 3 squared plus 2. 3 to the 6th power is 729. 3 to the 4th power, 81 times 4 is 324, so minus 324. 3 times 3 squared, that's 3 cubed, which is 27, plus 2, 729, minus 324 times 27 plus 27. Something's wrong with me. 324, 729 minus 324, plus 27, plus 2, 434. And finally, g of negative 1. Okay. So we get negative 1, 1, 0, 4, negative 4, 0, 3, 0, 2. Bring the 1 down. 1 times negative 1 is negative 1. Add these to get negative 1. Negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1. Negative 4 and 1 is negative 3. Negative 1 times negative 3 is positive 3. 0 plus 3 is 3. Negative 1 times 3 is negative 3. 3 plus negative 3 is 0. Negative 1 times 0 is 0. Add those together, you get 0. Negative 1 times 0 is 0. And add these together, you get 2. Now we plug it in. So we get negative 1 to the 6th minus 4 times negative 1 to the 4th plus 3 times negative 1 squared plus 2. Negative 1 to the 6th, it's even power, so it's going to be positive 1. Negative 1 to the 4th power is positive 1. Negative 1 to the 2nd power is positive 1. So we get 1 minus 4 plus 3 plus 2, which is 2, which is the same. So that's pretty cool. Okay. Okay, so this is problem 51, section 3. So these all say use synthetic division to show that x is a 0 of the third degree polynomial and use the result to factor the polynomial completely. List all real zeros of the function. So what we have is a third order polynomial. And it says one of the roots is 1/2. So what will happen is if we use synthetic division, we should get a 0 remainder at the end. So we have 2 x cubes, we have negative 15 x squared, 27 x's, and minus 10 at the end. And the number you put here is always x equals something, or the equivalent factor would be x minus 1. So if you had x minus 1 as a factor, x equals 1/2 is a 0. So we use the 0, not the factor. Okay, so we bring 2 down. 2 times 1/2 is 1. Negative 15 plus 1 is negative 14. 1/2 times -7 is -14 is -7. 27 plus a -7 is 20. 1/2 times 20 is 10. -10 plus 10 is 0. So that shows that it is a 0. And the remaining polynomial we have, so remember this is the 0, the factor would be x minus 1/2. And what we multiply it by is 2x squared minus 14x plus 20. So that's the coefficients here, and if you have 3 terms, this is the x squared, this is the x, that's the constant. So now we have to factor this. So the easiest thing to do would be to factor out of 2, because these are all even. So then you get x squared minus 7x plus 10. And the first thing you would try to do is see if you can do it by just by observation. And you can see that the possible factors, the integer factors of 10 are 2 and 5, or positive 2 or 5, 2 and 5 are negative 2 and negative 5. And you can see 5 plus 2 is 7, so that looks like it's going to work out. So we have one factor, then the other, and they're both going to be negative because there's a negative here and there's a positive there. So you'd have -2 and -5. So you can see if I multiply that back out, I'll get x squared minus 7x plus 10. So my zeros are going to be x equals 1/2, which is the one they gave us, x equals 2, and x equals 5. Okay, next one is 52. So again, a third order polynomial. So in the case, usually the first thing you look for is can I factor out an x? But I can't, so that's not going to work. And also we're given that x equals 2/3 is one of the zeros. Over here we were given x equals 1/2. So again, we can use synthetic division. So 48, -80, 41, -6, and 2/3. Okay, so bring 48 down. And I'm going to use my calculator just to make sure I don't make a mistake here. 48 times 2 divided by 3 is 32. So positive 32, -80, plus 32 is going to be -48. Okay, then you take -48 times 2/3, and you get -32. Shouldn't be surprising because that's what I had before. Okay, so you add these two together, you get 9. Then you multiply 9 times 2/3. I get 6. -6 plus 6 is 0. So there you go. So that confirms that that's 0. And the resulting, if we factor this out, so we're going to use x minus 2/3 as the factor. And what you're left with is 48x squared minus 48x plus 9 equals 0. So now we need to factor this thing. So the question would be, how can we figure that out? You can factor out a 3. So let's do that. So you get 16x squared minus 6x plus 3. Okay, now, most likely the factors are going to be 4x, just because that makes the most sense. Most likely, I'm not saying that's guaranteed or anything like that. So let's think about this. If we put a 3 here and a 1 there, you can see 4 times 3 times 4 is 12. 1 times 4 is 4. 12 plus 4 is 16. So it did work out. This is negative. This is positive, so these both become negative. So negative 3 times negative 1 is positive 3. And FOIL gives you negative 16. So that's the fully factored expression. So the other zeros you get by setting the factor equal to 0. And this one. So in this case, the zeros are x equals 2/3, which we proved over here on the left screen. X equals 4/3, and x equals 1/4. Okay, next one is 59. Okay, we go to the next group. So the next one says, verify that the given factors of the function, verify that they're factors of the function, find the remaining factors of f. Use your results to write the complete factorization of s. List all real zeros of f and confirm your results by using the graphing utility to graph the function. Okay. So here we're now to a 4th order polynomial. So to make it easy, they give us two of the roots, 2 of the zeros. So we've got x to the 4th minus 4x cubed minus 15x squared plus 58x minus 40. And they say that these are the factors. So if those are the factors, these are factors, the zeros are x equals 5 and x equals negative 4. So we can use synthetic division. We can use either one of the zeros to do it first. I mean, they're both going to work. So we're going to use, I'll use 5, because that's the first one I got to. Bring the 1 down. 5 times 1 is 5. Add these together, you get 1. 5 times 1 is 5. Add these together, you get negative 10. 5 times negative 10 is negative 50. Add those together, you get 8. 5 times 8 is 40. Negative 40 plus 40 equals 0. So that first one is a 0. And then you don't have to go back, and you don't really want to go back and do this. What you want to do is you want to use the remaining expression, which is x to the 4th plus x cubed, x cubed plus x squared minus 10x plus 8 to do the next part. So I'm just going to copy these constants down, and we use negative 4 for the next part. Okay, so you bring the 1 down. Negative 4 times 1 is negative 4. 1 plus negative 4 is negative 3. That gives you positive 12. You get positive 2. Adding these two. Negative 4 times 2 is negative 8. You get 0. So that shows that negative 4 is another 0, or the factor is x plus 4. So this is what we have left over. So what we have is x minus 5 times x plus 4 times x squared minus 3x plus 2 equals 0. So then what we do is, if we can factor that, which is pretty straightforward in this case. So we have two factors. We're going to have x, this first term. Well, two numbers multiplied together give me 2, 1 and 2. 1 plus 2 is 3. So I can just put negative 1 and negative 2 in there. So those are the zeros factors. So what do I have? X minus 5 times x plus 4 times x minus 2 times x minus 1. Okay, so what it says, verify the given factors of the function. Okay, we did that. Find the remaining factors. Yes. Use your results to write the complete factorization. That's what I just did. List all real zeros of f. So we've done the zeros over here. So the other zeros are going to be x equals 2 and x equals 1. These are the factors. There's corresponding zeros. And finally, it says confirm your results by using the graphing utility to graph the function. So what you do there is you just plot the original function here and see if it crosses the x-axis at these 4 values of x. So let me open up my graphing program. Okay, so our function is x to the 4th minus 4x cubed minus 15x squared plus 58x minus 40. Let me just double check it. Okay, and I think all our zeros are within this window. So you can see we get a 0 at negative 4, positive 1, positive 2, positive 5, which I think is what we just said. Negative 4, positive 1, positive 2, positive 5. Okay, 69 says simplify the rational expression. So this doesn't necessarily mean that it's divisible. It just means that you can write it as a polynomial plus a single term. So 69 is 4x cubed minus 8x squared plus x plus 3 divided by 2x minus 3. Now, you could use synthetic division, but you'd have to get this to be, I'd have to factor out the 2, which is not that big a deal. So how would we do that? What it would be is 1/2 times 4x cubed minus 8x squared plus x plus 3 divided by x minus 3/2. So that way you could use synthetic division, or you can use long division. So I'm just going to try synthetic. So I'm going to do the part in the parentheses, and then I'll just multiply it by 1/2. So we have the coefficients, and we have 3/2. So we use the 0, not the factor. Okay, so you bring from 4 down. 3/2 times 4 is 6. Negative 8 plus 6 is negative 2. 3/2 times negative 2 is going to be negative 3. And 1 minus 3 is negative 2. 3/2 times negative 2 is negative 3. You actually do get 0, so we don't have a remainder. So the final answer is 1/2 times, So what happens is the denominator disappears and you just have what's left over here. So you'd have 1/2 times 4x squared minus 2x minus 2, which would be equal to 2x squared minus x minus 1. Now, let's just do long division just to show you it works out and convince myself that I did the right thing. So let's write this out. Okay, what I need to multiply 2x by to get 4x cubed, I need to multiply by 2x squared. Okay, 2x squared times 2x is 4x cubed. Negative 3 times 2x squared is negative 6x squared. I'm subtracting this. It goes to 0. This is negative 8 plus 6, which is negative 2. So I get negative 2x squared plus x. What do I need to multiply 2x by to get negative 2x squared? I need to multiply by negative x. So negative x times 2x is negative 2x squared. Negative x times negative 3 is positive 3x. And again, what I'm doing is subtracting this. So now we add those together. Actually, yeah, so we have negative 2 plus 2 is 0. Here you have x, 1x minus 3x, give you negative 2x. And then we bring the 3 down. What do I need to multiply 2x by to get negative 2x? Negative 1. So you get negative 1 times 2x, which is negative 2x. Negative 3 times negative 1 is positive 3. Again, I'm subtracting that. I get 0. So you can see up there that they are the same result. '72 is our last one. So same kind of deal. This one's easier to decide what to do. We can use synthetic division. Okay, so set up our synthetic division. These are our coefficients, 2, 3, negative 3, negative 2. This is the factor, so we do the 0. Bring down 2. 2 times 1 is 2. 3 plus 2 is 5. 5 times 1 is 5. Negative 3 plus 5 is positive 2. 1 times 2 is 2, and they add these together to get 0. So that comes out to be this is a factor of that, and then you can cancel out the factors. One way of thinking about it. So the answer is going to be 2x squared plus 5x plus 2 from these 3 coefficients there. So that's the answer for that one.